Hi, I have published in English 3 books, which sold fairly well. The one is about waste elimination and appreciating the people's potential, called New Manufacturing Challenge. Manufacturing is to add value, so it applies to all the organization. Second one is to empower people within the organization so that you can align the whole company's vision and mission is connected to the people, for people to have their sense of managing their own destiny connected to the company's destiny. It's called the new shop floor management, so connecting the strategy, the top management view, and the shop floor to link up, and trying to reduce the cumbersome red tapes and the top-down approach, but rather to have people also engaged in how they can contribute, adding value and enjoying life, that kind of stuff. And the third book is called The Result from the Heart. So this is getting more into the connection within. The brain is functioning to do things well, to do your work, but also living your life. And each individual has heart. What is heart? It's very difficult to explain, but that's something at the core of who we are. That is like a source of energy and creativity. And when we listen to it and connect it to the brain, it works much better. So the theme there is use your brain, or listen to your heart may come first, and use your brain not to be used, and live with a mission. So it applies in each individual, but the company can accommodate or connect that in their way of management. So it's not just a profit-seeking kind of organization, but there's some value beyond the mind, connecting to the heart. So that's the third book. And what I want to share is how all of those can be put together in a way so that even within each individual, there's a cell organs working together, and each individual to orchestrate those activities. I call it the mini-me. Within myself, there are mini-me and mini-mini-me's. And the lung and heart and kidney and all that are the mini-me, whatever. And within each, there's more cells work together to accomplish a mission for the kidney and the lung and the heart. And then as a whole organization to function. So that structure, I call it the Holland structure. Arthur Kessler mentioned that. Each unit has a framework, way of how to manage, but each of those, like a mini company, mini company, or mini-me and mini-me, have the same structure, but all connected to each other. So if we can see that the whole management is rather simple, that if we can manage all of that from the top to the shop floor, each individual, to each individual's life and work. But like I said, this was more into business first, but it's not just for business. For when we talk about each individual's destiny, what they want to accomplish, that's the mission. And everyone's different. So the idea of a life profile. People talk about life balance or work and life balance. My idea after my awakening was to have this idea of the life profile where I have a major issue of living truthfully and sincerely. That's a connection to the heart. And that's number one, because if we don't have that, if we don't have a heart, it's sad. So try not to be egocentric, but connect within each individual externally, but internally to orchestrate so that no sub-optimization is there. I call the egocentric way is very narrow view in the mind, and it's very sad if we all do that. So all the customer orientation, everything comes with it, so that each cells and the organs, individual mini-me, are orchestrated with this life profile idea, so that you can be sincere and truthful. That's one of the measurement, KPI, key performance indicator. And you can also bring in areas such as work, hobby, relationship, and there could be a family, partner relationship, but other relationship like a community too. And then health and finance. So each individual, myself, I monitor those KPI. Each of the area has a priority and weight, and each of the area also how much I have satisfied myself for the time period, let's say 3 months, every 3 months. I have posted that in the YouTube video if you're interested, because that is to navigate your life well, with well-balanced idea. Again, connection to the heart is very important, number one. And the other area we want to manage somehow. So every 3 months or so, like a plan to check out, you check how you're doing, and depending upon how much red and green, negative or positive, what we can do. What is the lessons learned? What is the plan? So strategies developed, and that's how I have managed my life with this idea of a life profile for the last 22 years, every 3 months or so. And therefore, going back to the scheme of the organization, individual, and within, there's a coordination and the managerial principle based upon this holon structure, mini-me, mini-me, and myself, and connecting to others. And because of the customer-supplier relationship we have, we can orchestrate. I think that is fairly simple in my view, and that's been a way of navigating my life. So the point of this is that if you look at how we want to accomplish our destiny, as much as each mini company or the company or the organization or nation or as a human being, we may have certain mission. It's like a mission, vision, and then the strategy to monitor how things are going on, and reviewing and checking and come up with ideas, learning lessons, and moving forward. So this life profile idea can be replaced by company to orchestrate their view, including who are the customers and what are the missions and what are the priorities. And that's how the company manages. And many companies does the same thing. So there's all the connection or across the board. If you can picture it, it may sound very convoluted. But if you just look at this way, to me that's very simple. So there's different entity. You can call ego its entity too, but it's very narrow. So you want to have a balanced view with the customer-supplier relationship and all that, so that you're not sub-optimizing. But with this idea of the mini company or mini-me and life profile and monitoring with the KPI, having a mission and reviewing every now and then, every month, every week, every quarter, whatever, and they even have annual report. So you can review that within each individual, as well as in any of the organization unit across the board, all the way. So, as I was pointing, this looks a little convoluted, but let's look at each individual. My case, for example. And actually, this is related to what I said to my son when he was 17, that he wanted to do whatever he wants to do. So I said, well, that sounds good. Just do whatever you really like to do. And if that helps the society, you find a way. And I have nothing more to suggest, and good luck. That's what I said to him. That's what, the 25 years ago, or some such thing, and he's going through the passage. We don't talk about that exchange of ideas, but that's what I feel, not just my son, but for myself and for everyone. Because if we have an idea of what we really like, it makes sense to put energy into it. Hopefully that's not egocentric, but something valuable to the society. So find what you really like, and if that helps the society, that's the way to go. That's what I said to myself. And I think I approached my life like that, with this idea of the life profile, and also with my work as a consultant, and the books I mentioned about reflect all of that. So that's the bottom line of it. Now, if you do that, now the pragmatic way, realistically, how I spend my time. I'm at 75, and that principle is still with me, and I don't want to be egocentric because it's sad. I went through Vipassana, 10-day meditation, got awakened, and spent another dozen times Vipassana and into Zen and others. And the world is so wide, and each individual has lots of depth in it. So given that situation, what I do is what I said already. What I really like to do in my case is to be sincere and truthful, not egocentric. And that's the connection to the spiritual pursuit, or Zen. I got interested, and Shin Buddhism. Zen is more intellectual, Shin Buddhism is more compassionate, wisdom, compassion, melting together, and to accomplish. And that's what I really want to do. And my awakening points that make sense, so you're not self-centered. And in my post videos, I mentioned like die to live and live to die. Every day, clear and die as if that's the last moment of your life, and summarize. And next morning you wake up fresh and revisit. Okay, what do I do? Conceptually, that framework would remain the same, and that the life profile idea would be applied, and I have the checking mechanism, but daily I can die and live. And I mentioned in the video also about die and live, live and die. The case of Shin Buddhist Yokoni, some examples, and there are few of them, and they are saying the same thing. Each breathing is like dying and living. When you inhale, the energy comes in, and when you do the work and finish, exhale, then you clear up. So I mentioned about daily, but each breathing can be like that. More you do it, you clear up the plate, align yourself, you have the sense of who you are, the core of who you are, and have the connection, affirming it by checking your inner body sensation and the transparency that I can feel. So that is the end of it. And the next day or next breathing and die to live. I mentioned about, I think Paul was from the Bible, said something like, every day self dies and move on. Don't carry the baggage to next day. So from moment to moment, every day to every 3 months with a life profile and on, and the KPI and clarity, creativity, compassion, wisdom, all thrown in, connected to what we really like to do. If you have the energy flowing, you find the blockage within your system and also externally in the organization, what can be done. And as manager, if you're in the organization at the top or middle or whatever level of the shop floor, you are the manager, I call it. You're the president of your area of responsibility. So from individual all the way, and within individual there's also mini-me's and mini-me's, all orchestrating. And I want my mini-me's to be passionate about what they want to do, except I'm in the place of organizing, prioritizing. So if the heart is not pumping well, you want to do something about it, breathing, and the kidney, pancreas, whatever, and you want to align yourself so that your energy and aliveness of what you got is focused on accomplishing a mission with all the elements within myself is working together. And each would do it. My neighbor in the company, my customer, within the customer, there's many companies, and I worked in that kind of a scheme so that, again, within the organization too, as I visit, you hear KPI, red and green, good and bad, plan, do, check, act. I can see it, called glass flow management, it's clear. Then come up with idea to move forward with the organization. That's what managers do. And I'm assisting as much as I'm assisting myself so that my mini-me's are happy. So that the orchestration is with this basic principle for myself, for the companies, organization, in any situation. So that's the view. So just the last point I want to connect to this discussion is about AI. Because of this ChatGPT, for example, I mentioned in the video, that dragon is out of the cage. That's wonderful, but it's dangerous, depending upon how we use the tool. And this tool is very powerful. So if we have a narrow-mindedness and egocentric, crazy idea and use this tool, you can navigate your life into the wrong direction. And we don't want to have that to happen. And how do we do it? The way that I see is we have to empower every one of us to be sincere and truthful, and also connected to the idea of the life profile, customer orientation, and within prioritize, looking at all the mini-me area of the relationship, and it could be the partner or kids or the neighbor or the community or the health or finance, a bunch of them. It's fairly complex, but that idea I share, I practice, and I practice with the organization to empower people and connect to the strategy, the vision of the company. So I see as the technology is progressing and lots of things are happening, the pace of the change is accelerating. So I just wanted to share my view of what I see. And that's how I live. And I'm using this YouTube as a way to communicate, also to synthesize how I'm living my life and share in each episode of the video to make sense for my own self, as much as if there's anyone listening. So that's the vision and approaches at page 75 in 2 days. Let's wish or aim, may all beings be happy. And find the bottleneck within and without, internal, external, wherever the situation is, and have a way to learn, come up with an idea, implement, and clear up the mind every now and then. So we have this energy flowing, oxygen in, energy out, let the learning to take place, and move forward. That's my, I guess, turned out to be the message at page 75, I guess.